The board have finally seen sense. They've given me some money to spend. I've got 30 million quid. I've got transfer budget. And the transfer window is fast approaching. This is about to get exciting. Hello and welcome to Season 9, Episode 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we've got live comms at home against Newcastle and away against Wolves in the Premier League. But before we get into that, I mean, this is a much more upbeat video than the last couple have been. There's two reasons. Firstly, as you probably saw from the intro, the board have given me money to spend, and they've actually given me a £30 million transfer budget to spend in January. They've upped the wage budget from 600,000 to 700,000. We've actually got some money to spend, and we've already spent some of it. We've got players coming in January. Can we see future? Where do we see future transfers? Right, we want players in. Right, we have, as confirmed deals so far for the start of the January transfer window, we have João Teixeira. I don't know how to say that. Let me know in the comments. 29-year-old Portuguese midfielder, currently playing for Sunderland in the Championship, but he was playing for them in the Premier League last season. Long career with Benfica over in Portugal. Didn't play a huge number of games for Benfica, but he's got Premier League experience. I mean, look at those mental stats. I mean, this guy is a proper top quality midfield player. He's having a really good season in the Championship. 6 goals in 16 games down in the Championship. And it just gives us another option in midfield. Midfield is an area where we are really struggling for players. So it's just another body to throw in there. Bit of experience. Premier League experience as well. Hopefully he's going to be a very important player for us. We've brought in another midfielder as well, Aaron Cool. He's primarily signed because he can play as a defensive midfielder, so it gives us the option to play a holding midfield player, maybe use a diamond. 27 years old, coming in from West Ham. He's played one game for England as well, and he's still only 27. Another one who has bags of Premier League experience. I mean, look at these transfers this lad has had. He was playing for Reading for several years in the Championship, went to Fulham in the Premier League for loads of money, so will have played with Lasevig and Christensen before, our captain. Then went for even more money to Palace, had a good season in the Premier League with them. Then went for even more money to West Ham, where he had 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's now playing for them in the Championship. He's not having the best season in the world, but I think, stats-wise, he's a proper natural leader, great physical skills. He's going to be able to get a tackle in, give us the option to play either a diamond or some kind of system that's going to allow us to play with a holding midfield player. And the really good thing about him is the fact that he was cheap. We're bringing him in for £1.2 million, which... Oh, hang on. Yeah, £1.2 million. A lot cheaper than Teixeira was at £5.5 million. So, 2 new midfield players coming in. They're going to play in completely different parts of the midfield. They probably won't ever play together. But we've now got some proper strength and depth in midfield in a month's time when they come in. Don't worry, I've not gone completely insane and not signed a right back though. This guy is a young player, bags of potential. He's primarily a centre back, but is also natural at right back. Can cover at left back as well. He's like the Premier League version of Dominic Ball. He's a big, strong player. He's quick. He's good in the air. He's good in the tackle. He's only 22 years old. He's another player coming in from Hoffenheim. I know I've signed players from them before. I've got a feeling Maraglia maybe came from Hoffenheim, or Abacraja maybe, a little while ago now. But he's been playing in the Bundesliga regularly for the last 3 seasons. And he's only 22 years old, has the potential to get much, much better. So we finally have a proper right back who can also come across and play as a left back for us. He's costing us nearly £8 million. But, fingers crossed, it's going to be worth it. And then the last one, oh no, he was withdrawn. See, this guy I really wanted, but he wouldn't agree personal terms with us. And it's so frustrating because this is the guy I wanted to bring instead of Cool. I don't know how to... But neither of the new midfielders I'm going to be able to pronounce. We need new names for them. Really wanted to bring this lad in, but just couldn't agree personal terms. But there's still over a month before the transfer window opens. We've still got £21 million to spend. Yes, we're committed to be over our wage budget now, so we're probably going to need to adjust the budget around a little bit. So if we maybe did that and allowed us a bit more wage budget, we've still got £14 million to spend. So I would expect there to still be another 2 or 3 players coming in yet. I'd like to bring in another left back. I'd like to bring in a goalkeeper. It would be good to have some kind of backup player up front. There's been a little bit of discussion in the comments about whether I need to bring in some wide players to allow us to switch the system up completely. I'm a little bit reluctant to do that, just because, well, mainly this system has suddenly started working in the Premier League. I know it's only 2 games, but we've won our last 2 games in the Premier League. We've actually won 3 of the last 4 games, in fact. You saw us beat West Brom. You saw us narrowly lose to Spurs in a game we probably could have won, and the good form is continuing. We went away to Liverpool, and we beat Liverpool 2-1. Thierry Ambrose is back in form, and in form in the Premier League for the first time. He's now got 6 goals in 12 games, and suddenly it's not looking like such a stupid decision deciding not to sell him in the summer. He's starting to look like a Premier League footballer. And then we also beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-2 at home with a Thierry Ambrose hat-trick. So Thierry has arrived in the Premier League. We're in good form all of a sudden, and we've got reinforcements on the way. League table wise, that leaves us 15th. We're on 14 points after 12 games. If we keep that points per game ratio going, we're going to hit the magical 40-point mark, and I think we will be safe. And if we can survive this season, it gives us the opportunity to then build for next year, and it really does start to get exciting. For the first time since we clinched promotion, 4 or 5 episodes ago now, I think that we might have a chance of staying up, which means we're probably going to lose today. The team we're playing today, we're playing against Newcastle. This is the team that we're putting out. It's very familiar to you. It's pretty much the only team we've got available. We've got Sotres back in goal. A back 4 of Tavernier, Knudsen, Dane and Zeman. Midfield of Zabeldia, Wilshere, Christensen and Johnny Vaughan just behind Thierry Ambrose and Keziah Sterling. You can see from our bench that in fact we need to take Dominic Ball off the bench because he's injured. So let's just have a little fiddle with that and see if we can bring James Maloney onto the bench. In fact, no, we'll put Haidara onto the bench. Hughes is still injured, as you can see, and other than that, there is no strength in depth at the moment. We're desperate for these new players to come in. If we can just keep hold of anything like the form we've shown for the last few games, going into this transfer window opening, it's all going to get a little bit exciting. Let me know in the comments what you think of the players that we've agreed to bring in so far. Let me know if you agree with them being the right kind of player, the right kind of positions, and let me know what other positions you think we should be strengthening, because obviously we've spent less than half the money so far, so there is still money to spend. I'm a little bit reluctant of going out and spending too much, because whenever I've done that in the past, it's taken a long time to gel. We don't have the luxury of it taking a long time to gel. We've only actually brought in 4 or 5 first team players in the last 2 years now, and because of that, we've got a fairly weak side who are being held together by the fact that they all know how to play with each other. I don't want to bring in 5 or 6 first team players and upset the apple cart. I think, Sterling's hit the post there. I think ideally from this point on, I'm probably going to be trying to bring in talented youngsters in a similar vein to the young right back whose name I haven't learnt yet. I think we've brought in our quota of experience in the 3 players we've got there. Looking to just bring in talented youngsters who can fill our bench for the rest of this season, and then push on to become first team players as we go forward. Sterling has just had his second clear-cut chance of the game. We're playing really well against a good Premier League side again. Is Andre Dazelle in their team, by the way? That's where he went, Newcastle, wasn't it? I probably should have seen if he was on the team sheet. We'll have a look at half-time. Look, we've got 63% possession in a Premier League game. All you doubters who said we shouldn't be playing attacking football. I was going to concede a goal here, aren't we? I love attacking football. If we end up going down, at least we're going to go down playing the right way now. We're actually starting to play our game in the Premier League. It's taken a little while for us to get in a position where we can do it, but we're finally there. And I'm not an idiot. I know we're not going to go out and start winning every match, but we're going to play well and we're going to give it a good go and we're going to try and score goals. And that's the right way to do it, isn't it? If nothing else, that's hopefully going to get me noticed by a big club. The Chelsea job came available a couple of weeks ago, but for some reason it wouldn't let me apply for it. I need to check my Ipswich contract to make sure I've not got anything in there about not being able to apply for other domestic jobs or something like that, because Jermaine Defoe was caretaker manager for a few weeks. And then they appointed a new manager, and I kept checking back, and not once did it give me the option to apply for the job. So I hope we've not got a bug. 9 years in, I'm committed to this save now. I don't want to have to be stuck at Ipswich forever and ever. That's never been the long-term plan. So maybe there's something in my contract. Going abroad is seeming quite an attractive option at this stage. If we can survive in the Premier League this season, that's going to make a name for me in the Premier League. Go away to Italy or Germany or Spain or somewhere for 2 or 3 seasons, go and achieve something there, and then come back to England with a big club. It's starting to look like the plan. That being said, I'll probably stay at Ipswich for the next 5 years. I really am enjoying my time at this club. This game is sort of petered out a little bit now, hasn't it? We're 10 minutes from the end. We've made a couple of substitutions. We'll make another one, I guess. We'll bring Maraglia on as well. We'll just swap them over. But I think it's heading for a 0-0 draw, isn't it? Newcastle have certainly come back into the game. We had the best of the first half, definitely, but it's now down to 50-50 on possession. They've had more shots than us now. We're really regretting Sterling missing those 2 clear-cut chances he had, because we're not... Oh, no. We're not a good enough team to not score our clear-cut chances. And this one... It's a bit of a shame, because it's going to finish 0-0, and it's a game we could have won. We shouldn't be winning these kind of games, so a draw is not a disaster, but I'll agree with Ian Culverhouse, in light of the way we've been playing lately, and in light of the way we played in the first half in that game, it's disappointing, because we should have won that match. But we're still doing all right. Our points to games ratio is still survival form, so I can live with that. Let's go and play the next game. Right, we're away against Wolves. Only one change to the team. Haidara comes in for Knudsen at left back. Otherwise, we're unchanged. We have offered Thierry Ambrose another new contract. He's whinging a little bit that he wants to leave. I don't know. I've offered him £60,000 a week. If he turns that down, I think we might sell him, which isn't quite as exciting and positive as the first half of this video. But in other news, we've identified a extra right back / left back, 33 years old, from Celtic. He can play as a full back on either side. He's a bit old for what I would normally want to sign, but he's dirt cheap. He's only going to cost us £400,000, and he can do a job as either full back. He can play as a holding midfielder. He can play in central midfield. He could even play wide midfield if need be. So another utility player, another player who can come in with a lot of experience of bigger clubs. It's another one who spent a lot of time at Benfica. He's been at Celtic for the last few years. If we can get him on a short enough contract, 'cause he is 33 years old, so he's not someone we want around for the long term, but could be a useful player to bring in, certainly to see us through to the end of this season, maybe next year as well. So he might well end up coming along. We're currently negotiating the contracts with him. But let's get into this game against Wolves. Wolves are 11th in the Premier League, so probably a slightly tougher test than Newcastle, who are actually only one place below them, but we are away from home. So it would be nice to get a goal after such an exciting, positive start to this episode. I would have liked to show you a win. At least a goal would be nice, just to show that we're. I don't want the curse of the Livecom to come back. We suffered from it a little bit early on last season, and we got over it towards the end. That can do one. I don't want that to come back. But in positive news, we are on a bit of an unbeaten run. Sterling is potentially through here. Sterling is such a fast player, but I don't know, doesn't seem as lightning quick in the Premier League, which is a bit of a shame. Ambrose finds Haidara here. Haidara, who of course signed for us from Wolves 2-3 years ago now, finds Vaughan. Sterling has missed another good chance. Keziah Sterling needs to become more clinical in the Premier League if he's going to keep a place in the side long term. He obviously scored a lot of goals for us this season. He was the first one of our players to start scoring goals in the Premier League. He's just not doing it consistently, though. He's not scored for a little while now. And we're kind of relying on Thierry Ambrose for our goals at the moment. And if he doesn't score, no one else is. Perhaps we need a striker. Because Gomez and Maraglia, I don't think either of them have scored yet this season. So options are a little bit limited going forward. So perhaps a striker / attacking midfielder. Ambrose is through and we are 1-0 up. Thierry Ambrose is a man on fire. What I'm thinking is maybe another one of my good old favourite, a striker who can also play as an attacking midfield player in the same mould as Gomez and Maraglia, but The crucial difference being, I want this one to actually consistently score goals for us. What am I saying? Gomez hasn't scored any goals, actually. He got a hat-trick, didn't he, in a live com? He hasn't scored since, though. Since getting the Young Player of the Month. I mean, that's a lovely finish from Thierry Ambrose. More of that, please. Imagine if I've said this so many times over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but wouldn't it be great to find another one of him? He only cost us £1.1 million. What was City thinking? They could have got £5 million for him. And I don't understand how we've kept hold of him for as long as we have. And it's Ambrose chasing the loose ball down here from this corner. Christensen finds Wilshere, who, I mean, I say his name so rarely, we may as well have not signed him. He's been a placeholder until these 2 new midfielders come in. He'll go back to his rightful position as a Premier League reserve soon enough. I'm pretending that didn't just happen. I mean, we are away against a better team, so it's not a disaster that we've conceded a goal, but the defence are all a bit out of position there, aren't they? Our new right back needs to hurry up and turn up because we're vulnerable out wide. It's because we're set up to play quite narrow. We've only got the 3-man central midfield. We look to control the middle as well. And for goodness sake, the only right back we've got at the club is injured. Dominic Ball obviously is still injured as well, who would be our normal backup. I guess we just need to bring Knudsen on to play over there, but he's not good at it. And having just conceded a goal with them attacking down that side, we're now playing a player out of position out there. We've got 5 more games until the transfer window opens. If that's a serious injury for Tavernier, they're going to be 5 painful games of basically playing without a right back. It's going to be like last season all over again when we were having the experiments, the adventures of right back experimentation. Is James Maloney still around? I mentioned him 10 minutes ago. He's still around somewhere, isn't he? Perhaps he can keep his goal a game record going from right back if we bring him in. We've got to play Man United before the transfer window opens as well. This could end really badly. Oh no. Why did I have to... stupid live comes, wrecking our unbeaten run of form. I mean, that's not even the left back, is it? That's Dane, I think. Or is that Zaman? I don't even know which way around it is. Zaman, maybe. The lad we spent all our transfer budget on has just been absolutely ruined for pace there by Dembele. And now, just to prove it's not just Zaman, he does the same thing to Dane. He is quick. That is what Keziah Sterling should be doing. That's what Keziah Sterling was doing in the Championship. But obviously, he's just not as fast as the other Premier League players. In fact, let's test that theory. He's got 17 acceleration, 18 pace. Right, what's Dembele? How do I look at their team? You can tell how rarely I look at the opposition. So, formations, Dembele. 17, 16. He's slower than Keziah Sterling. There is no justice in the world. What else contributes to how fast you can run past players? Rubbish. Right. Sterling can go and get a goal now. Now we've established he's faster than Dembele. He needs to start doing that to opposition defences. He's not going to because I'm going to take him off. Let's give Gomez another go as the poacher. That was the position he was playing in when he got his hat-trick. I've barely played him there since because Sterling has come back in. So Gomez has sort of hovered around as an attacking midfielder again, which is supposed to be his proper position, but he never plays well there. This game's done, isn't it? Well, that's a bit of an anticlimax. I was all excited at the start of this episode. That's knocked the stuffing out of me a little bit, really. At least I get to go back to shopping after this and try and bring in some more players to excitedly tell you about. I think the next episode is going to be the first game of the transfer window. So anyone who we arrange to sign between now and then, you'll meet them officially at the start of the next episode. We'll play the first couple of games of January. Then I'll go away, finish off the rest of the transfer window and come back just after it closes. We'll bring Kirk on for Vaughan. Kirk scored a good goal. He got the runner-up for the goal of the month last month. Zubeldia has just scored a good goal as well. Perhaps we're back in this football match. Ambrose does really well, gets in behind the defender and just tucks it back and finds Zubeldia in a lot of space. I mean, that's poor defending from Wolves because they've all followed Gomez and let, I think that's Zubeldia and Kirk, I guess, come in behind. Which, I mean, it's just, I'd be absolutely livid if that was my defence. I mean, yes, we've lost that game, but we've had more possession, we've had more shots. We're competitive in the Premier League now, and that's important. because we weren't early on. And Haidara has just tried an audacious shot against his old club from about 50 yards out on the touchline. Never going to happen, but I love him for trying, because if it had gone in, it would have been amazing. Right. So we're 16th. 15 points, 14 games. Not ideal. I'm not sure how that fits in with my ratio. If we finish 1 point behind Liverpool and Chelsea, though, we'll probably be okay. So if we can just follow them as they march up the league, that's got to be the plan now. Let's just see what's wrong with Tavernier, so you can play guess what kind of month Kev's in for. We're hoping it's just, I don't know, he's sneezed and hurt himself a little bit. But no, he's got a slip disc. Of course he has. So we are going to be playing the next month without a right back, which definitely means I now want to sign both of the right backs I've identified, because we haven't got any now. Speak about injury. Can we just tell him to stop getting injured? No, stop getting injured isn't an option. That's what I want to say to him, because he was the first signing I made at Ipswich. He was so important when he came in, but he just gets injured too often now. He's old and past it, and I can't even remember where injuries live anymore on here. Look at all these injuries. Since he signed for us as well, he's had half of his career injuries as an Ipswich player. He needs to sort himself out. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the exciting transfer window tomorrow. And thank you very much for watching.